Hello and welcome to Inches and Cubes, your Toronto-based Warhammer 40k podcast, coming at you from my basement. I'm back. Point and click Nick's here.
So is Paul Mr. Fist Fowler.
And Adam the Truest Axe.
We're back together again, coming at you with episode 19. Listen to this music. And we're back, coming at you today talking about the Deathwatch.
Yeah, that book came out a little while ago. We haven't talked about it, and we're excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nick's a big fan because you had a Deathwatch army.
Yeah.
I do. They're the only Imperium faction I've ever played.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
They're-
special place in our heart here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always dug the rules. I thought they're cool. I remember when they were like White Dwarf only.
Yeah.
That was dope. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they came out in 7th. Pretty cool.
as a faction.
Yeah. And they kept some elements from the 7th edition codex, which we'll go into. So standard faction focus. We're going to talk about the fluff. We're going to talk about favorite units, favorite stratagems, and no psychic powers because they're the same as the Space Marine powers, and warlord traits.
Yeah,
So, you know the deal.
yeah. You've been here before. You love it.
But first, is my
first.
new favorite thing.
I am worried about this because
Is-
everyone was very happy to be like, Paul's gonna hate it. That's what you guys sound like to me.
Still hiding that label from him,
I
eh?
am.
So it's becoming a thing.
One
where-
for Adam.
Thank you, sir. Where we just get beer that Paul hates.
Which I like.
Oh, I can smell it.
I actually kind of understand because I've been told before that I forgive very easily and I have very large reactions, so it's fun to mess with me.
All right. I guess we'll try it together.
Cheers, everybody.
All right.
Cheers.
Happy birthday, Nick. Welcome back.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Oh! Oh! I do not like that at all.
What was that, prunes?
Why am I drinking this?
Yeah, it's got like more of that bad homebrew taste, too.
Oh! No, it's because it's multi-grain premium dark ale.
You know what? I'm kind of into it.
It's 10W30. It's a new stat. I think it tastes like someone carbonated balsamic vinegar.
This is actually good.
You said that at a party, too, and then I made you drink the entire bottle because you said a beer was good, even though you hated it. You just wanted to prove me wrong.
I did. No, this isn't that bad. Like, I expected way worse.
So it's definitely... Have you guys had, like homebrew where you do it in a bucket in your closet kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it has that... And if you... So, a lot of people use the corn sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you use malt as the replacement, it gets, like... It's, like,
Yeah.
heavy, this flavor.
It's super malty.
And it's just, like... It reminds me of my homebrew days.
Yeah, this isn't
So,
this isn't bad.
Maybe.
I expected it to be way worse.
Not the biggest fan. Oh, sorry, Adam.
you're all right. Yeah, so very malty. 10W30 by Newstat.
I mean, it's named after an oil for a reason.
There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, hobby desk.
I don't have a ton, though I did crush out some high quality work.
Yeah, you got that. Oh, I love that dude you painted.
Yeah, it's Archimus, the captain that accompanies Dorn as the captain of the Huskarls in the Heresy. I won't get into what ultimately happens to him because it's spoilers for the book Praetor of Dorn, but he's the reason that it's called Praetor of Dorn.
Praetorian?
No, Praetorian of Dorn. You're right. Yeah, and it's this. Like I've said before, the sculpt was done by Anvils of Conor. You're going to hear that name a lot until I finish this commission. The head sculpt is really good because he's got a really close cropped beard, which I had a lot of fun painting. Just like in very tiny streaks and making sure that like the gray in pattern was a little asymmetrical just because it's kind of the way he's described. He's got this close cropped beard and close cropped hair, so like the hair is also it was non-textured, and it has this like really cool scar like sculpted from like the cheek to the behind the temple. A lot of fun to paint. When I looked at him first, I was like, I'm gonna try and paint his face like Drake, but then I was like, no. And he's like described as kind of suspicious and like has a handle on tempering Dorn's like ire.
Yeah.
Like, because as the heresy goes on, Dorn goes from like taciturn to just like kind of getting a little bit more emotional here and there. He like,
the emotion being anger.
Yes, like he flips out at Russ.
I'm emotional. No, you have an anger problem.
Yeah, you're just crazy angry all the time right now. So like to get that suspicion, I kind of gave him like side eyes. So he's like, you know, the pupils are a little off center. It's the first time I've played with pupil positioning.
You just started painting eyes like 2 months ago.
2 months, come on. But it was a lot of fun. The face was a lot of fun to use. I went and used the Death of a Rubrist face painting guide. He's got a really good one. Again, I didn't follow it exactly, but there's a lot of like cool notes on transparency. So I would look that up. It's a great resource. And then the armor is custom sculpted Mark II? Mark III.
Nice.
Yeah. So it has like a fist on the chest. His foot is raised up, and he's got this like cool mace that I did as like a big bronze-headed mace because I just think that's like a cool idea. And he's just got a regular bolt pistol, and so yeah, same recipe as my fists always are. So nothing surprising about that. But I think he looks great. You can check him out on my Instagram if you like.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And yeah, and then like a couple of bits and bobs here and there that kind of aren't hobby related. Like I cleaned up my hobby desk and now have a new protocol that I'm only taking out paints I need and then I'm putting them back when that project is done.
That's a good idea.
Uh-huh.
I have a similar thing but on the shelf and off the shelf, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Or else
referring
it just
to
gets
it.
crazy.
I like referring to it as a painting protocol though.
Follow the protocol.
Exactly. So yeah, what about you guys? What have you done?
Well, it's been a while, so I can't recall what we've talked about, but I think the kill team stuff, I don't know if it was done the last time we talked.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, so I got together 10 shooter boys, a knob, which I actually painted up the war boss for my orc list as the knob, just because it was a good excuse to get it done. 4 bikers and 5 commandos, and really got the feel for orcs down. Took a while, and now I'm going to have to adapt that into assembly line painting for the 80 plus models that I have to paint to finish this army off.
I have no sympathy for you because I have to face 80 plus models every now and then.
It's true. So that's fun. We can talk about acquisitions and gifts, right?
I mean, we'll let you because it's your birthday.
Thank you. So I also got a wicked actual scale model T-34 Soviet tank that I'm super stoked to build. It's 135 scale. First time since I was like a little kid getting one of these, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I opened the package. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is really difficult.
You better hope that you know someone that worked in one of those factories because otherwise that's going to be hard to build.
Yeah. So that's going to be at least a weekend building, and then I really want to go to town on it, doing some of the scale modeling techniques. So you were talking about chipping fluid.
Yeah. I mean, that you might need an airbrush to do, but you can definitely like do sponge chipping really well. Weathering powders, oil washes would look really nice.
Oh yeah. So it's going to be Operation Uranus. So when the Soviet army encircled Stalingrad and cut off the German 6th Army, it's going to be so I've got all the markings and everything ready to build that
Nice.
A T-34 from Army Group Center, maybe? I can't remember. My history is a little bit off today.
It's a friend of mine does a mythology podcast, and she has to say Uranus an awful lot. So she just uses the Greek pronunciation of Uranus because she's like, I just don't want to keep saying anus.
Yep,
like,
Uranus.
She's like, I know my friends. Eventually, someone will cut together a supercut of 9 minutes of me just saying that. Anus.
I also came by an entire Beastclaw Raiders army for Age of Sigmar. So I'm going to start playing that game and probably talking about it on the podcast a little bit. I'm kind of stoked to play it. Apparently it's a fun tactical game where shooting isn't as important as like movement and tactical positioning. So I'm interested to give that a shot for sure. Big models. The guy got it from Phil. He was like, yeah, it's only like 12 models. I'm like, okay, but they're all the size of a Land Raider. And they're all... You remember we talked about the Deepkin and how difficult those are going to paint? Like the ice horns on the Thunder Tusk guys. I'm like, okay, this is going to... I don't have any excuse to buy models for another 3 years with all the painting that I have to get done.
Also, like, though that model is one of the, like... There's so many, like, fantastic painters that use that model as, like, a display piece that I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
So the fluff behind the Beastclaw Raiders is they're always hungry and winter always follows them, so they always need to eat. And on the back of the Frost Lord, there's just like an Imperial dude just tied, hanging off the back, like still alive.
Oh no.
So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to paint. And then the last thing, it's down the street, I haven't gotten it yet, is a Van Sar gang.
Jeez Louise.
So I think that's going to be my break from the Deathwatch. I might paint them and the Van Sar gang at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, also, I like took out all the bits to build a Devastator squad today.
Cool.
So I'm going to do a 4-man heavy bolter squad for my Imperial Fists. And I might play them as Crimson Fists because I'm scum.
Yeah. I'll pull on a Connor.
Yep. He's a bad influence.
Do you have enough Mark III armor?
Yeah, definitely.
You do a normal Mark III, right?
Yeah, probably Mark III with like some extra bits mixed in. Just because, like, I don't know, I like mixing my armor marks.
Yep, makes sense.
For like 1 or 2 guys, and then having 2 standard dudes.
Yep. Super cool. Adam, what do you got on your painting desk?
Meow meow. So
that's not words.
Been busy at work, so got a bunch of Death Guard stuff done. Plagueburst Crawler and a bunch of Marines and a character, which you guys see in those pictures over there if you're on Twitch, which is really fun. It's just like, yeah, I just love painting the green and all the like gross details they have. It's just good times. So I can't remember if I said we finished the Necromunda terrain on here or not, but we finished it all. Less some small airbrushing to do, but it's looking fantastic. It's been being used for games, and it was a good little project to do with the club. And then I pulled out of the sprue a whole bunch of MDF terrain from Wargames terrain, their industrial set.
I think James has a set of that stuff.
Yeah, it was nuts. So I spent last night with Jack, and we just like pulled it all out of the frames.
Apparently, painting it is not fun.
Painting MDF, it's kind of ridiculous because it just soaks up all the paint.
Yeah,
and yeah.
I wonder if you can like hit it with a.
I'd varnish it.
Yeah, you got to do like Rust-Oleum primer and stuff like that, and just cover it up. And then I've also started traveling the road towards Insanity. I've built 118 Tau Fire Warriors.
For one client?
For one client.
For one very demanding client.
Here's what that looks like, just in case you missed it.
Frig.
Yeah. It was something. And
well, I mean that's Tau battle plan, just send in bodies, right?
Mm-hmm. Wait, no.
So this is how I went about it. I just like plopped 10 bases in a row, and then cut out all the legs, cut out all the bodies, cut out all the backpacks, cut out all the arms. Then 10 bases, legs, arms, bodies, blah blah blah, and then mold lined everything. So that's a process in itself that'll drive you half crazy.
Should outsource that.
And then, I had Jack come over, and I just like fed him beer and pizza, and we just went to town on it. and then one day I just literally sat there all day and was like, glue, legs, glue, legs, glue, legs. And then when all the legs were just sitting there, I just went by and like held the glue over it and like dabbed a drop on each set of legs, and then body, 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 body. And so it's been it's been crazy.
That sounds horrible.
That I'm glad I didn't have to build the orc boys; they were already built.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the thing that's stopping most normal people from doing horde armies.
Yeah, is honestly the building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, mold lines is
Yep.
was horrible. It was not fun, especially like there were 20 of them that were the old Tau Fire Warrior kits.
Oh,
Which
frig.
yeah, so the mold lines on those were just ridiculous. Here, do this, and then I'll keep going.
Kapow! West Coast IPA. That's all it says.
Kapow is the name of it.
Yes.
Just in case you missed it.
So we were at Reinhardt on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah, they got some good stuff.
Yeah. For some reason, somebody bought me a milk stout in the hot sun, which was an interesting...
Who did that to you?
I don't know. I came back from buying sausages because there was a sausage stand, which is like, how has that not happened before at the ale yards? Right? There's 3 craft breweries, and a 4th one opening up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there not a food truck parked there every Saturday?
The fact that Connor was like, the fact that this hot dog stand isn't called Snacklands is driving me crazy. It's just like the fact that it, like, not only that it should have been called that, it was just he was angry that no one thought of it but him.
So yeah, I had a nice milk stout in the hot sun, and I'm like, oh.
Great, fabulous.
Oh, this is excellent.
Yes, this is one of my favorite IPAs,
Yep.
for sure.
I used to really try and fight my IPA reputation.
But you turned me into it.
No.
So when I was in Calgary a couple weeks ago, and they can't do an IPA. They absolutely cannot. I was like on a quest to find I wanted like a high alcohol, high IBU, and I just couldn't find it. They were all so heavy, and it was like, oh, this is an IPA ale, or this is an APA, or this is a West Coast IPA. And it's just like none of these are what I want.
Yeah.
There's some pretty unique flavors coming out of this one. How would you guys describe this?
Fruity, still got that bitterness to it.
Yeah.
Banana-ish.
It's like a grapefruit bitter type of thing.
Yeah, we're sitting at 6.5, which is the perfect.
Yeah, you wouldn't want more than that.
No.
Oh, look at that cloud. Babies, for those of you at home, there's a lot of sediment on the bottom of that bottle.
Yeah. It happens. So, Adam, what else you got going on?
Woo!
Yeah, and then so along with these Fire Warriors comes 4 hammerheads? Hammerheads. Including
The tanks.
The tanks, yeah. Hammerheads, yeah. With the big railguns, one of which is a special character, like leaning out the top, all super angry and stuff.
Long strike.
Yeah. And so they've been airbrushed, and they're getting closer to being done. A commander, an ethereal, and then 3 of these old metal marksman dudes that are just like inside this like, it's like this stand-up VR thing. It's really weird. Anyways.
Oh, for sniper drones?
From the sniper drone kit.
Oh, he's using it as the Farsight marksman.
Yeah.
Who's got marker lights.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that was like a blast from the past. That was really fun.
I remember sniper drones.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
This is my robot. It domes people whenever it can.
Bloop. Just a little bead.
Mm-hmm.
I fire really, really fast.
I mean, I kind of like it.
Rodent's
So,
cool,
yeah.
man.
There we go. That's hobby progress.
That's a
Been
lot
busy.
of stuff.
Yeah, it's been busy.
Do you feel like you're going crazy from the greater good?
Yeah. I have to get 40 of the Fire Warriors painted by Friday, and they're not primed yet.
You're priming tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ought to. All right, well, we'll see if we can cruise through this and get you home in a reasonable hour to your empty apartment and nothing but priming.
Thank you, sir.
So, General's armchair.
General's.
Paul, what you got?
Man, we had the Hogtown Knuckler in between podcast. We had Simon on last time, and big thank you for him for running that day. I ended up playing him first game because we had a dropout, so he was the ringer. He brought a Tau army. It was funny. He was like, "Yeah, I'm the ringer. I brought a soft list," and it was 3 ghost keels, 2 cold stars, a bunch of stealth suits. Like, I was like, you can't turn this off, can you? He's like, I don't think I can. So I took it in the shorts on that game just because I wasn't aggressive enough. So I just kind of got picked apart.
Those ghost kills are tough.
They are tough.
Yeah.
The -1 and -2 to hit really really bummed me out because I wasn't getting Tesla shots off on them.
You got to kill those little drones.
Yeah. So I was kind of able to do that.
They're a separate unit, so you just target those and just get rid of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, because like if you keep firing the ghost kill, because I played him as well.
Yeah.
In my second round, if you keep firing at the ghost kill, that is a way to kill those drones if he decides to offload wounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna keep that when it's -1 to hit, right? So you just have to pick off those two little guys, and then he can't do that. Well, then it's only -1 if you're outside of 6, but if you're inside of 6, then you can nail him. Which, hence, if you weren't aggressive, then you weren't getting that either.
Right.
Yeah.
So I now know, though. I just also had like so many cold rolls. Like I had the Satan in a great position to use the power where everything within 9 inches takes mortal wounds on a 4-up, and it was like 5 squads, and it was like 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I was like, that sucks so bad.
Yeah.
So I just like that. If that had gone differently, like one of the ghost kills was down to 1 wound, one was down to like 3. And he was like repairing them back. But it was just like, had that gone just a little bit different, I probably would have taken that flank and been able to control his alpha objective. It was ITC missions, which didn't really like. I've gone on record about my opinion on the ITC missions. I don't love them, but I kind of like them. Like, it's fun to try them out.
Yeah, it's a nice balanced way to play, but I don't feel like the missions have any flavor.
Yeah, I don't think it's balanced. I think it attempts to balance stuff, but then you just play to the missions and you unbalance it again real quick.
Yeah. And they're all the same.
Yeah.
You can put the primaries in there, but you're like, this game's won and lost in the secondaries, which are the same every game.
Yeah, but what's there? No, there are no primaries.
Yeah, there is. There's like a weird.
There's the bonus.
Yeah,
it's just one extra point.
I know.
It's like not primary.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then I played Jack, who I hadn't seen in a million years. So it was like,
I'm glad he's alive.
Yeah, that was like that was the best thing I got from that game, was confirmation that Jack's still breathing. And I just beat his brains out. It was like just a rout, and like, I was like trying to be like doing that thing where it's like, all right, now here's what you want to do here, because he was like, I haven't played many games at 8th, so I was like, all right, here's the main differences, just because like we had a ton of time, so but I just friggin' 2-boot stomps him.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love the guy, and I don't want to like ran on his parade sometimes, but he'll send me lists, and I'm like, it's just so bad.
Yeah.
It's like literally taking all the worst units in the game, and he's an intelligent guy, so he tries to like rationalize and explain things to me. I'm like, Jack, you just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, he had all these Terminators, and my Wraiths just went like through all of them. He was like, that's what they do? I was like, yeah, I do 2 damage, so every failed save is a dead guy. Feels bad, I know, I have Terminators. Like, so I just steamrolled him. And then the last game of the day was one of the most fun games I've ever played. It was against Phil. It was Dark Eldar versus Necrons. And I basically took every lesson that I learned that day and was like, all right, Phil, you're getting it. And I think Phil did the exact same thing to me. So we, like, it was like a lot of, like, I got a bloody nose, he like blew up a unit, I like crippled a unit, stuff like this, and he just couldn't get the Wraiths dead. Like, he couldn't pour enough wounds into them, and I kept bringing them back, and I think I brought back 5 Wraiths over the course of the game. He eventually did manage to kill them, with Lilith Hexbrax.
Yeah, she's good.
That's a lot of command points to keep bringing them back.
I only used it twice.
Okay. I guess
so like, I had 1, and I brought back 3, and then I brought back 2 more the next turn. Nice. After a couple had died, and he was just like, but I tried to get his warlord with a kamikaze scarab. So his warlord was like down to 1 wound from being in a fight with the Wraiths, and he like withdrew, and I just beelined it with a scarab and blew him up, and only managed to do No, he was down to 2 wounds, and I only did 1 mortal wound. I was like, oh, it would have been so good to just...
No command points left?
No command points. Because I had to use a command point to, like, blow him up.
Get it off.
Oh, right, yep.
But then, like, it was looking really...
It's on a 2-up, right, too? So
Yeah.
it's like, no.
Well, I got...
Oh, no, it went off, sorry.
It went off, but I only did 1. I needed
Right.
2. And then it was kind of looking really bad for me, but I was able to... Veil of Darkness, because he was like, haha, I've attacked your giant blob of warriors with witches, you'll never get away, because they had like the nets and stuff, and I was like, my dude, welcome to Veil of Darkness. And he's like, oh, I have a Veil of Darkness, I know what this does.
Yeah.
So I just like took them all and like moved them.
Was
like,
that your French accent?
no, that's my Phil accent. I took them all and like put them in his backfield, and he was like, just mad about it. And I managed to like with the warriors managed to blow up like 2 raiders, and
nice.
I managed to swing what was going to just be a stomping by the end of it. Just also because of the way that ITC missions work. Once you stop scoring,
Yeah,
you're done. So I managed to like swing that really far. So while I still did lose, I didn't lose as bad as I thought I would, and I had a great time and learned what a pain that Dark Eldar can be.
Yeah, man. So I played 2 games, one of which was against a really tough Dark Eldar list. So I played Cam Bond and
I love Cam.
Connor the yellow-bellied coward collie.
That's been a while.
It has been. I felt it was necessary. So Cam was running. Oh my god, there must
Blasters all day long.
I think there must have been 5 raiders, jet bikes, hellions, and just warriors and blasterborn. He had 4 archons in the list.
What a psycho.
Yeah, there was just all this stuff, and everything just went perfectly for the orcs. This was the first game I tried out the orc bikers, and the orc bikers were able to run up and just tie up a raider and another squad of Dark Eldar bikes, and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I'm like, "Yeah, but every time I tie up a raider, it means it has to fall back, or the dudes have to get out. And if it falls back, the dudes inside can't shoot."
Yeah. And
So-
if the dudes get out, they get eaten by orcs.
Exactly. So I was able to charge his front line with the jump, tied almost everything up because I just Conga lined them across the entire board, and then learned the weakness of Shadow Fields, which is just 30 orc boys hitting on 2s.
Also, just to jump in real quick, Phil lost his shadow field and was like, I'm going to command point it. And because I do this podcast, I was like, you can't do it.
Yep, you can't. You definitely can't do it.
I was like so pleased.
Yeah, you should be. But yeah, it was just a tough game. And he ended up killing like the mob of 30 boys, the commandos, the bikes. The Burner Bomber actually killed like 6 Hellions in a bombing run. And he was just like, oh man, and then wiped the rest out of with shooting. And I was like, that's cool. So he wiped out that first wave, and he was down to like 2 raiders, and a couple, I think 1 Archon left. And he looks at the 2 battle wagons. He goes, "Those are both full of dudes." I'm like, "Yep." And they got out and charged in.
It's like the orcs, you just can't kill enough of them.
Well, we'll just talk about that in the second game. But the last thing that I was able to do in that game was actually surround a raider that had 2 Archons, and a Hecatrix, whatever the witch HQ unit is.
I think it's a Hecatrix.
And a unit of Blasterborn, and just blew the raider up with Choppa attacks, and there was no room to place them, so the guys all died.
Oh, that feels bad.
Ooh. I've had that done to me before by Gene Stealers.
I'm gonna try and do it.
It's not fun. It feels bad doing it.
It doesn't feel that bad.
It does. It does. You're just like, yeah, I'm just like making you take models off that you haven't even been able to place on the table.
Well, just like picture like just firing bolters or shooters like into a wrecked vehicle,
Yes.
like just for minutes.
Yep. So then I played Connor, and very similar situation. Everything went right for the orcs, and then late game there were just a couple key things that happened. I misplaced a guy by like half an inch, so he was able to heroically intervention a captain. A weird boy got a super smite off and just killed Valen Call because he was the closest model
Oh.
and just did 6 mortal wounds, and Connor didn't make a single feel no pain. I was like, he's dead.
That felt good,
Just
didn't it?
so good.
You've probably been waiting like 9 months to do that.
Yep. The Burner Bomber blew up and did 3 mortal wounds each to all of his predators and his captain, which was awesome. The Storm Boys were able to blow up a Sakaran, a Predator, and bring another Predator down to 1 wound. And you're like, Storm Boys.
Yeah, they do work.
They do a ton of work. Failed a couple charges with war bikes because they don't auto advance 6, which really hurts them. I really hope that changes in the codex. Because I was running the war boss on a bike who was able to get in, kill a squad of scouts, and then pile into the Sakaran, so the Sakaran wasn't able to shoot because the Sakaran would have destroyed my list. And the game just came down to I lost by like 3 points, and I think he had 2 Predators, both Redemptor Dreadnoughts that were really, really hurting, and a captain. And I just had Snickrot left because all I had was characters left at the end of the game, and I'm like, oh, you can't shoot this character because that character's there, and he's like, nope, because characters ignore. I'm like, no, and he just like Redemptor Dreadnoughted my Big Mac, shot a weird boy, and Snickrot's just like, I'm out. And Snickrot was the only guy who survived the match. He killed everything in the list, but I think it really came down to the stratagems and not having clan keywords and just not having a codex, because like that was just it, right? Because he's able to do kill shot, mortal wounds. I'm going to move this vehicle and not suffer the penalties for moving and shooting with heavy weapons. I get the 6-up, feel no pain, and I'm just like, I auto passed morale. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Rerolling charges is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So is advance and charge with the war boss on a bike. But I think once orcs get their codex, they're just going to be friggin' stoppable.
I think you're going to see orc stratagems be more expensive than other like newer codexes.
Probably
because it's affecting 30 to 50 models sometimes.
Yeah, and there's no problem with that because orcs can pretty easily fill out a battalion or even a brigade.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see how the codex changes my list. I like my list because it's super fluffy. It's based off of Armageddon orcs. You got some speed freaks, and you got Snickrot's commandos backing them up, which is straight out of War on Armageddon. So
yeah. And
I'm loving it.
how's the biker boss work in that Armageddon? Was he on Armageddon?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't believe that.
He was. He's wherever he needs to be.
Sure. And this is the guy that once turbo boosted through a...
No, Wazdaka Gootsmeg's dead.
Right.
This is Zardsnark the Ripper.
Okay.
Zardsnark's still super cool.
Yeah. He's a friend of the podcast.
I'll just name him Wazdaka Gootsmeg. So Wazdaka Gootsmeg once rode his bike off of a cliff into the cockpit of a warlord battle titan on fire from the void shields, killed everybody inside, and then rode his bike out.
Yeah, he has a warp engine on his bike, right?
He got Big Mac. It's a special Big Mac.
Yeah.
He got him to build him a warp field generator so he could just jump from planet to planet, so he never had to get off his bike to travel through space.
He activates it in the middle of a warlord titan.
But yeah, Zardsnark the Ripper is also really cool. He's got a jet engine on a bike and a claw that just mows people down.
That's pretty cool too.
So yeah, fun list. Great opponents. I definitely want to rematch both of them when the codex comes out.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean about Dark Eldar, because they put out a ton of shots.
It's incredible. And it's not bad because you can largely weather it.
Yeah.
But they're a real fun army to play against, I find.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, as soon as I get you, you're dead. And then you actually they do a ton of damage to you, but then you kind of catch them flat-footed, and it's just like...
You die like guardsmen.
Yeah, piles of dead, and you're like, yes,
yeah.
Revenge. And then, I don't know, a Talos comes out and just tears the butt off of you, and you're like, oh, my butt.
I didn't even Talos. It was full warriors, which I was like, you need to get some homunculi in there, because those guys are super cool.
Yeah, the monkeys do work.
Yeah, they do.
How about you, Adam? You got any games?
Played 10 games.
Holy frig.
You need to tell us about 3.
Yeah. Pick
I'll tell you what.
10 games. Jeez Louise.
Some of them are going to be on the channel or already are on the channel. So one of them is a game against Phil's Dark Elder as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a practice game for the Knuckler. So you guys can go check that out on Encounter Wargaming. I've played 4 games of Necromunda, which it was a joint production between Encounter Wargaming and Blackfire Productions. So it's going to be like a mini 4-game Necromunda campaign, where you guys can check out Game 1 on Encounter Wargaming, and then we'll link you to Game 2 at Blackfire, and then it'll just go back and forth. So I'll just give my cursory thoughts on that. Necromunda is really cool. Clan Escher is total garbage. And Vansar are very undercosted. So there you go. That's my 4 games of Necromunda. And then I played my league game against Victor. So he played Dark Angels, and I played Sisters. We played 2,000 points. And we played... we just played what did we play? It was... what's it called? Chapter Approved Mission.
Nice.
I forget which one. But anyways, I just like... He'd never played Sisters before, so I just got all up in his face. My Dominion squads move up before the game starts in their repressors. Celestine moved up. A squad of Seraphim moves up, and then it was just bad news for him. So took him by surprise and just basically tabled him. We called it on like turn 2 or 3 or something.
Oh, that feels bad.
Yeah, I know it did feel bad. And then I'll keep that one short. What else did I do?
How could you make a 2-turn game longer? Gee.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Knuckler was 3 games. And these ones, I guess I could expand a little more. But basically, game 1 was against a crazy Necron list, which is basically pretty similar to the Necron list that I may work towards building. But it was 2 Doomsday Arcs, 3 units of Immortals, an Overlord, a Cryptek, a unit of Wraiths, and a unit of Tombblades. And it's just like this big mass of Immortals that just walks up while the Wraiths and Tombblades get all up in your face.
I really wish I liked the Tombblade models, because they're really good. I just don't like them, so I'm never going to buy them.
Yeah, but there's some great conversion potential there. So
I'm pretty lazy these days.
Anyway, so his Wraiths and Tombblades get all up in my face, and I take care of them pretty easily. But just that huge blob of Immortals, 30 Immortals, just walks up, and just Teslas like crazy.
Were you running Primaris?
I was playing Sisters for the
nice.
Knuckler. So
Also,
this game...
good on you for bringing Sisters to an ITC thing.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was, a lot of people were like, what?
I went 2 and 3 that day. If it wasn't for this Necron player, I think it could have... it would have been different. But anyways... I don't like to say that games come down to dice a lot of times, right? Like, it's actually, as much as this is a dice game, it's not always a dice game. But this guy was just dropping 6s on his Doomsday Arc like crazy, and there was nothing I could do about it. So, I don't know.
Quantum shielding, man. It's good.
Feels good. I love quantum shielding.
The quantum shielding wasn't an issue because I didn't really shoot at them.
Oh.
But he just kept getting 6s.
Oh,
it's
for the
D6
shots,
D6
yeah.
shots, right? So
Which is like strength 10, AP negative 4, D3, D6
damage.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for how many points? Like, they're basically equivalent to Exorcist, but an Exorcist is not even close to that good.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, and especially when you could just drop consecutive 6s like that. So it just was like, he just was ripping apart multiple tanks a turn. And my army just isn't designed to be able to deal with losing that much.
Yeah.
You know? So once those girls get out, they're not going anywhere, and they're certainly not going to be able to take care of 30 Immortals when they're outside of their tanks.
Oh,
so
30 Immortals.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity to just annihilate an entire squad of 10, and I just totally bombed. And so like just couldn't roll it, even average, like, and it was just, and he he made, I think I'm trying to remember the numbers now, but it was something like 8 4-up saves, so he rolled 100% on that. And then he had to roll 3 like 5-up saves for invulnerables because of some other shooting. 100% on that, and he just there were like 5 guys left, and it was like bam, 8 4-ups, bam, 3 5-ups. And I was like, So that
Sound like
there's
really
nothing you
good
can do
dice.
about that. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. Anyway, so that lost me that game. But it was cool to watch the army that I'm working towards building perform well. So I was excited about that.
Also, like Doomsday arcs and like the other arc.
Ghost Arcs.
Yeah, like I don't like those models, so I'm not gonna buy them.
Yeah, totally.
Like Doomsday arcs are real good, but they look ugly as shit.
I'm telling you, you can run your Tesseract arc
Yes.
as a Doomsday arc, no problem.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And you
Yeah,
should
just
do
do it.
that.
Just do it. Yeah, they're just so good. Like it's totally worth it.
And Necrons lack that long range firepower.
They
Right?
do.
They don't have that.
No, they're like a midfield army.
Yeah, so having that support just pushes something a little bit over the edge.
Okay. Well, I do like I'm gonna run a list with 2 Doomsday Night Scythes. Just see how that super mobile Tesla works.
Yeah,
Because it'll be at half range
it'll be
all
the
the time.
it'll be the only thing left in your army by turn 2. So
Oh, by turn 2. Get out
if I can get those charges off,
They don't seem that appealing to me. The night size right now, as the rules stand.
8 shots each, and you can just drop dudes.
Yeah, but the dropping dudes. If someone takes care of your 2 night sides,
You spend a command point and you get everybody out. Like, alright.
yeah.
First
Try
off, you
it.
can't react to me just by making a face on a podcast.
I'm gonna interrupt you.
I need your words. Sound like a struggle.
It was.
What do you got here?
This is gross beer for Paul number 2.
Man, what?
He liked the first one.
Yeah.
So that was 2 games or 3 games we talked about from the Knuckler.
So I've only talked about one from the Knuckler so far.
Okay.
Game number 2 from the Knuckler, I played against. Was it the Tau? Was it Simon and his Tau? So I played against the Ghost Kill Army, and took him to town. Yeah, I just managed to. I just pulled a pretty good flank shift. I let Celestine mess around with one of his commanders on the first turn, and then jump into his backfield and just take care of a unit of stealth suits and a big unit of fire warriors and his cadre fireblade, while the rest of my army flank shifted and took care of all 3 ghost kills.
Nice.
Ooh.
So, yeah, and he
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for avenging me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then my third game, I forget what it was. So, but I won that one too. It felt good to come out of the Knuckler with 2 wins. But yeah, I had fun that day. I do like the ITC missions every once in a while. Like I couldn't always play 40k like that.
Oh my god, what is that beer?
This is a tropical Jefferson Starfruit Sour.
That is horrible.
That is a good sour beer.
Nope. No, it is not.
It's solid sour. It's not too fruity.
It's super sour.
It's very
Yep.
sour, yeah.
Yeah. Read it.
Lot 30 Brewers is proud. That's horrible. Lot 30 Brewers is proudly based in the village of Brockton in Toronto, Ontario. The brewery's namesake is torn from the pages of the city's history. The plot of land it sits on was originally dubbed Park Lot 30 before it was parceled off into the vibrant communities that's the shittiest friggin' name. No, I
That's
hate...
on the can?
Yeah. It's tore it from the history. The place where it is was called Park Lot 30. Like, no, get out of here. You're a bad beer and you should feel bad. Finish this.
Paul has
Paul
spoken.
got mean. I'll help you out with that.
That is the worst beer I've had here in a long time. That takes all the moisture right out of your mouth.
Love it.
And it doesn't give you any of the, like you said, it's not that fruity, so it's not
No,
like you
it's-
have something tasty to munch on.
Yeah, it's like it's
But
like all the poor parts of a very dry white wine.
I like it.
You can have mine.
I like just how cool and refreshing it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So yeah.
Anyways, as I was saying, I do like the ITC missions. I don't mind playing it once in a while, but again, I couldn't play 40k like that all the time.
No.
No, and I was talking to Paul about this. Like, to me, Warhammer has always been about being able to swing things in, like, the last 2 turns and, like, get that, like, just bomb a unit up and, like, grab those 2 objectives and just go balls to the wall and take a chance. And ITC it feels like a grind. Like, every turn you're keeping track, and then if somebody's 10 points ahead, you're just like, oh,
And
okay,
like
well, I guess.
the worst part is you play it out.
Yeah.
Like, but anyways,
Yeah, and when it comes to the scoring, and we know Simon's going to listen to this, and he's going to send us messages on Friday.
that's fine.
But, yeah, it's totally cool. The way they score it too is it doesn't reward armies that are resilient and can still win,
Right.
even if they don't score a lot of points. Right, like
Yeah.
the best you can do is in ITC is if you score lots of points and just absolutely dominate a person,
Yeah,
right?
and-
Whereas like if you prevent them from doing things, you don't need to do a lot yourself. You just need to win the game. Like it doesn't reward armies like that, which I think it should. It shouldn't be purely based on like, oh, I got 41 points and you got 20 points, but we both won. But I did twice as good as you. Like,
Yeah, I
no.
killed more.
Yeah, like it doesn't.
Yeah. Connor and I, the mission we played was from chapter approved and was dominate and destroy. And it was progressive objectives and kill points. So you got a point for holding an objective and a point for killing a unit.
Dude,
And it was just like so much fun. It was so back and forth the entire
ITC.
time.
yeah, that's
No, it's completely different. The secondaries are what kills me on ITC, right?
The kill more, hold more.
Yeah. Kill more, hold more. Oh, you did 3 wounds to a monster. Oh, you killed 10 unit of 10 models, 20 models.
I mean, that stuff, that just seems silly to me because as soon as you write it, people build their lists around it. So it's like...
Yeah.
Or anti it. Like,
Yeah.
how many units do you see there are 19 models or 9 models just so they don't give up
Yep.
Reaper or whatever?
Yeah, like I did it
Yeah.
because I wanted to win, but I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
And then the game I played against Cam. So I do like that one, but that was probably because it was the armies that were playing. The mission I played against Cam was there's 3 objectives in the middle, and it was the Ascension ones. So there's 3 objectives in the middle, and you have to hold them at the end of your turn. Characters give you bonus points, and that was it, right? And just forcing some armies to come out and get objectives is a good switch. Like, you can't just sit back and blast people.
Oh, that reminds me. One of my other games was against Jay. We played Air Supply Drop.
Oh, yeah?
Like, what a great mission.
Oh, Supply Drop's so fun.
It's such a great mission. You would never see that style of mission in ITC, right? Like, everything hangs on turn 3. You don't know where the objectives are.
You might see something like that at the Hogtowner.
It's true.
And it's surprising, it's fun, it keeps you on your toes. Like, you're not... Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's unique and it's good. It's good flavor.
Well,
Yes.
that's like the missions that I've been kind of designing for that campaign that eventually we'll do.
Paul's not drinking anymore.
No, because that was a horrible beer. There's a horrible beer from a shit company. They put this out and they thought it was a good idea. So I have no love for them.
They have other beers that you may enjoy.
That I will never try. But yeah, so
Jeez,
like
you got mean, eh? You
Yeah.
can get mean.
yeah. I have a temper. Yeah, like what the missions that I'm doing for that campaign is I want to do ones where you can both lose or you can both win or one person can win. Like you have an actual objective.
Yeah, and you can do that in narrative stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean in a event I wouldn't be comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's a winner.
you're all blue ribbons.
We're not that kind of club.
No, but everyone should come out and have a great time.
They should.
Anyways, that's what's up.
Yeah. So we should probably talk about the main topic.
Well, I think we'll probably take a little break.
And then talk about the main topic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Battle Brothers Studios is a commission painting studio in Toronto, Canada. We want you to walk into the battlefield looking your best. So, if you're having trouble getting all your minis painted or are in a big rush to get some stuff done for that next event, then let us know. Facebook.com/Battle Brothers Studios for a free quote and inquire also about our 2018 deals. This year, running a 10% discount on any new release item from any miniature company. That's pretty cool, so send us a message.
You know, when I'm not cracking cold ones, I'm popping paint pots and putting brushstrokes on miniature figurines. And you know darn right that I'm getting my supplies from thewarpainter.com, a hobby store in the Great White North. Thewarpainter.com is Canada's greatest hobby store for all things hard to find. Scale 75, Broken Toad, the Army Painter, and Valet Ho. All supporters of Encounter Wargaming get 10% off their first order with the code EWG10. They got you covered.
Hello, everybody. This is Adam,
And I'm Jay,
and we are Encounter Wargaming.
and we wanted to celebrate hitting our 1,500 subscribers and give back to all of you who helped us get here.
Super exciting. So we call this the 2,500 subscriber Forgebane giveaway.
That's right, because we're giving away a Forgebane box.
Woohoo!
But in order to give it away, we have to hit our 2,500 subscriber goal.
Makes sense. All right, so first things first. Share this.
Share the podcast with your friends.
Share our videos.
Yeah.
Share anything you want. So there you go. Multiple ways to enter.
Right.
Number 1.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Woohoo! That'll get you 1 entry. Number 2. Follow on Twitch for 1 more entry.
Also, you can support us on our Patreon campaign, and that'll get you 5 entries.
Wow. All right. And hey,
Crazy.
guess what? If you subscribe on Twitch, you get 5 more entries.
Damn. And lastly, for all of you who are listening to the podcast right now, go on and leave us a review, and we'll get you 1 more entry.
Bonus. Guys, this is a big thank you for all the support that you have given us over the last couple years.
Absolutely. Thanks to everyone out there for making this a wild ride for us. Hopefully we can give one of these boxes to one of you lucky people.
Sweet. Hey, remember to share, and we will see you at our next encounter.
And we're back after a lengthy silence. We're getting into the Deathwatch.
I just want to say I'm proud none of us have said Death Guard yet.
Yeah, I
You
think,
jinxed it.
yeah, I think
gonna
we should
happen.
we should do a swear jar for every time someone says Death Guard instead of Deathwatch. So, what is a Deathwatches?
So I think we're going to start at the beginning.
So, what happened at the beginning?
So picture this: the heresy's over. The Imperium's actually quite stable.
That's nice.
So like the Great Crusade pushed all the Xenos out, and then the two sides in the Civil War obliterated each other. The Chaos has fled back to the Eye of Terror, and
Like a bunch of bitches,
hey man, they lost.
and been losing ever since.
Hey man, all the 13 Black Crusades were all successes.
Enjoy your retcon.
Anyways, so things are going really well, but you're starting to see the creep of Imperial bureaucracy seep in. So there's the planetary governors, there's the High Lords of Terra who are more interested in currying favor with each other and other people, so they're not really paying attention to some of the Xenos threats. So for some reason during this time, the Imperial Fists leave Terra to go fight some Chrome Domes, which was an alien race. So they are on a planet called Artemantua. And they started to notice these gravitational hazards started to happen. And just as the Chromes launched a counterattack, an entire moon materialized in the system. And destroyed like half the planet, destroyed the fleet, did a whole bunch of damage, and they had no idea what this was. And it turns out it was Du Bois. So this was the beast.
An intergalactic soccer match got out, and the hooligans have been let out into the streets.
Yep. So this is a war boss who, when the Space Marines saw him for the first time, thought he was a Stompa.
That's a big boy.
Until they realized that he was just an orc wearing armor plates.
That's a big boy.
And so these orcs they're smart. They're huge. Knobs are like 1.5 times the size of Space Marines. Orc boys are the exact same size as Space Marines. They have technology. They teleported a moon. They're firing gravitational whips, and they just obliterate the Imperial Fists until there was one dude left.
Slaughter Corlan.
Slaughter Corlan.
The last Imperial Fist.
Such a cool name.
So he's a captain, and he becomes one of the most badass Space Marine heroes that has ever existed. After the the Imperial Fist are wiped out to a man, we find out that Dorn, not entirely trusting his brother Robbie G, writ into the second founding chapters something called the Last Wall Protocol, where the second founding chapters of the Imperial Fist could kind of donate or pay a tithe to reform the Imperial Fist chapter, or it's kind of understood that they could all become Imperial Fists again and be restored back to Legion strength. But that might be a degree of just doing whatever you want.
Heresy.
Yeah, well, a touch of it, but you know, it was still. It was a good tool, so why completely dismantle it? I think is Dorn's thinking, but he's missing or dead at this point, so who knows? And Slaughter, he's named Slaughter.
Yep.
So at one point in his career, he would have been a sergeant. Let that sink in. That's pretty nice. And yeah, so he ends up trying to like really get the High Lords of Terra to understand how big this threat is, and realizing that there's no way to really get these like power hungry dummies all on the same page. He goes and tries to find Vulcan.
Yeah, so basically the orcs are on a rampage. They're taking over half of the Imperium. They're just wiping out Space Marine chapters left, right, and center. These are, if anyone's familiar with heresy lore, these are they're like prime orcs. They're like what almost killed the Emperor. The Emperor almost got killed by an orc war boss until Horus saved him. So these orcs are actually coming from Ulanor. They had reconquered Ulanor and made it their capital. So they get Vulcan, and they bring Vulcan, and they go after the beast on Ulanor. And Vulcan manages to harness all of the warp energy that all of these orcs are giving off, as we've talked about in the past on the podcast. Orcs give off a psychic field, but again, this is all weird retconny, because some people say it's warp energy, some people say it's WOG energy. Orcs don't care, it just works.
Yep.
So Vulcan gets all the WOG energy and just blows himself and the beast up. And Vulcan hasn't been seen since.
But he's probably not dead.
He's probably not dead. But you know who he didn't kill?
Who?
The Beast.
Oh, no.
Because it's not that easy to take down a guy who's 100 feet tall.
No.
So this is where the Deathwatch is born.
So, is Corlin responsible for the founding of it?
Kind of, yeah.
He sort of suggests that, listen, we haven't been paying attention to a Xenos threat. Like, we're good at putting down, like, we're a subjugation force, but we don't have a SEAL Team 6 chapter.
Right.
We don't have these high-speed guys. We have stagnation, and we're doing what we always did. And the problem is we're getting what we always got, which is conquering, but not holding, or not taking out threats before we encounter them.
Especially for Xenos, right? Because every time the Imperium had encountered Xenos in the past, it was all about absolutely destroying them, and not really about neutralizing the threat without a full-scale crusade.
Right. And now they just don't have the manpower to do that, or the sort of like technical expertise. I think it's at this time that the Ecclesiarch, the representative on the High Lords of Terra, is like freaking out, and he's like, "Why don't we just start worshiping the orcs?" And Corlin just domes him, like just straight up kills him. He's like, "No, that's crazy. I'm going to kill you," and he does.
Like, why would you even say that?
I don't know.
Like, has he not been paying attention?
I think he's been paying attention. He's like, well, I'm going to worship the thing that's like 100 feet tall and actually doing stuff. And, you know, Corlin's like, that's not how we do things. He's like, well, I'm going to do it. And he's like, okay, I'm going to kill you.
So, do it, you die.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also, he does it with the Inquisition, and also Master of Assassins?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the Master of Assassins that ends up eventually killing all the High Lords of Terra at one point.
So Corlin kind of gets a whole bunch of different chapters together to do surgical strikes against the Beast. So they manage to get through all the defenses, and they've got the Sisters of Silence teaming up with them. to help like neutralize the Wog energy, and then Corlin thinks he's killed the beast, but it wasn't the beast, and then the beast just appears out of nowhere because he's got teleporters.
Well,
and then just kills Corlin.
No, they do kill it.
No, they don't kill Corlin does not kill the beast.
There's 5 more.
There's only one beast. There's 5 Primorcs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyways, yeah.
Primorcs, get it?
Yes. He dies, but that's sort of the fate of all Space Marines is to die in battle. That's what you're supposed to do, especially if you're an Imperial Fist. But this is just such a great way. It's Dan Abnett writing these books, so if you haven't read them, they're a good time.
And so basically, the Imperium launches a full-on counter-assault with everything they have against Ulanor. They manage to kill the final beast with throwing their own asteroids through space, orbital bombardment, and suicide ships. And then the Adeptus Mechanicus just teleports the entire planet away to loot the ore technology and turn it into Armageddon.
Yep. That's hilarious. They teleport an entire planet and make Armageddon.
After looting it of all technology. And there's a reason why Thraka is obsessed with reconquering Armageddon, because I think there's probably a bunch of cool orc shit in there.
Well, it would be a spiritual homeworld.
Yeah. So that was like the first time that the Deathwatch were made to specifically fight against a Xenos threat and kind of be like the tip of the spear.
But this tradition has continued, so we'll get into exactly what a Deathwatch's is. It's sort of it's not quite chapter strength because its numbers are always in flux, but it is an organization that exists independent of most imperial authority. Like, it says that even inquisitors treat watchmasters as equals, and they don't treat anybody as equals. And it largely it's because they know like the burden that these guys have on them, and like where a normal Deathwatch initiate will serve his duty and either die in the Deathwatch or go back to his original chapter. Watchmasters don't. They're there for like ever.
They're lifers.
Yeah, they're lifers, and they're like given a specific charge, like
Yeah, so this goes back to how the Deathwatch gets its numbers.
Right. So every Space Marine chapter is either requested or scare quotes requested to send sort of like a tax or like volunteers. Sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt because you have to send like a very skilled warrior.
Sometimes it's a punishment for warriors that have messed up.
Other chapters send people that like just can't get their head on right, and they're like, listen, if you think it's bad now, wait till I bust your ass down to the Deathwatch. And then that happens. So then a Space Marine joins the Deathwatch, and while all the Space Marines think like, oh, I'm just going to go get like more training with different weapons, it's not like that at all. First off, they repaint your armor black except for one shoulder pad, so you don't make the machine spirit angry, because, it's bad luck. And then one arm stays silver with the Deathwatch insignia, which is an inquisitorial seal with a death's head over it, with one red eye. Is that the thing still?
On the shoulder pad?
Yeah.
No, it's just an eye.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll see it. Sometimes it's painted gold. Sometimes it's painted red. Again, I don't know why they're wearing an Inquisition symbol. But
yeah, because they're kind of outside of it. Then the initiate or the new brother is kind of psycho conditioned, so his loyalty is to the Deathwatch and the Imperial on the whole. And part of this is just watching Space Marine like pick captures of Space Marines losing battles against Xenos. So it's just like they're being conditioned to just hate aliens.
Makes sense. So
bad. Like not like regular Space Marine hating Xenos, but like you are now avenging every Space Marine battle brother who has died at the gross, beautiful hands of a tot lithe Eldar.
Okay. All right. Paul. Gee, put a book on it.
All right. Can I get a beer?
Yeah, we got a beer here. Yeah. Okay. So we went international. We've got a Endemica, which is a Galapagos blonde ale. This is coming to us all the way from the Galapagos Islands, courtesy
So
of Mr.
cool.
Mike Chapman. So this is a craft brewery that he hit up when he was on a wee vacation down there.
Yeah.
It was a little birthday present, yeah?
Yeah, it was. So it's just
Nice.
a blonde ale.
Well, thank you for including us in your fun.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, everybody.
And I don't think anybody south of the equator makes anything else but blonde ales.
Hot damn, that's a fine beer.
Yep.
It just is refreshing.
It had a little more punch than I thought.
Yeah.
Initially, like right when it hit the tongue. But it's actually really sweet.
I like it a lot.
No aftertaste at all.
No.
Woo!
When it's 30 degrees every day, all day, 365,
So,
Yeah, you don't want an aftertaste.
you ain't drinking stouts.
You don't want anything that you're going to drink and then pause before drinking again.
It's really sweet and light.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really like it. All right, so Paul was just writing a fanfic in his head.
Yeah. Well, listen, in my heart, every Eldar is either played by Tom Hiddleston or
Kate Blanchett.
yep, and they smooch. So yeah, that's sort of what the Deathwatch are. They're a high speed sort of Sigma 6 problem solver operators. But one thing that they have going for them, besides the psycho conditioning and having access to all of the Space Marine chapter's finest warriors, is they, in a move unprecedented in the Imperium, they can innovate and
They can use Xenos technology.
they can use Xenos technology, and they're allowed to invent. That's crazy banana pants. And as such, that's why you have like some different weapons. Apparently, all of
So
these.
more than just different weapons duct taped together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it seems that all of the Imperium's store of special issue ammunition ended up at Deathwatch headquarters. But they also have like weapons like Xenophase swords,
Which is clearly just
a Necron weapon.
Yeah, it's a war scythe.
Yeah,
It's a war scythe that someone just
gave a Space
gave
Marines.
Space Marine.
Um,
Frag cannons.
frag cannons.
What's the other one? The Infernus Heavy Bolter, which is the dumbest thing. I mean, it's so cool because it's just straight out of Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, this is way too many points, and it's literally just a heavy flamer and heavy bolters duct taped together,
Yep.
which is super cool.
But I mean, they have the Corvus Blackstar, which is just like a dropship.
Yep, it
It's-
very much is.
Mm-hmm. It's in the pipe, 5x5, baby. That's an Aliens reference for you nerds out there.
They use shotguns. They use sniper rifles. They have everything else that the Space Marines have as well.
It was, just to interject, it was also what the
The
Marine dropship said in StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's
From that, yeah.
I used to love clicking on the units till they said something silly.
Stop touching me. Stop touching me. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
War-
the
Warcraft.
Warcraft ones are
Yeah,
good.
Warcraft one
Yeah.
was a good one. So yeah, anything else in the fluff?
That's kind of it. Like, I mean, you can dig into it more. I think the big thing to take away is originally when they were conceived, they were a adjunct of the Ordos Xenos, like in the fluff, like by GW, and they've been retconned to be more independent. And I think one that just made them able to have their own codex without an Inquisitor, and it kind of makes more sense. But it sort of suggested that like an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor would be able to request a strike team or something like that. If you're seeing a company level action by the Deathwatch, you guys. It's a bad time.
Yeah, because the Deathwatch are called in to take out Farseers, war bosses, synapse creatures, and ethereals. They're not going to actually fight a siege.
Right.
They're dropping in, taking out a leader, and leaving.
And as such, their kind of unit composition kind of shows that, because you'll have Terminators and aggressors in
The same squad.
In the same squad.
Which is super cool. So let's get into the rules a little bit.
All right, Nick. Hopefully you read this, because I did not.
I did. So one of the coolest things that they have is what Paul mentioned earlier, saltily, is special issue ammunition. So basically, most bolt things, except, I think the one exception is Hurricane Bolters and
Bolt Storm
Gauntlets, get access to this.
What about the machine pistols that the aggressors have?
Machine
That's
pistols?
what we just talked about.
The bolt storm gauntlets?
No. The interceptor, the
Oh,
astronauts.
Right,
No, because that's a heavy bolter,
Oh, okay.
right?
But it's not a heavy bolter in name.
No, it's a call
Something
pattern,
else.
something.
No, that's the intercessor. He's talking about the drop dudes. The
I know.
astronaut man?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't have it.
I'll look it up real
I'm
quick.
positive they don't have it.
Great.
Anyways, so there are 4 different types of special issue ammunition, and they're all. And the coolest part is you can just switch back and forth at any point. The entire unit has to fire them all at the same time. There's a stratagem that you can split them up, but essentially they're broken down like this. Add +1 to the hit rolls for this weapon when targeting a unit that is in cover. This has been FAQ'd. The target has to be in cover. It can't be benefiting from cover, which is kind of dumb. But
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
this weapon always wounds on a 2+, except vehicles and Titanic units. When you're dropping down 10 Space Marines and they're putting out a ton of shots, re-rolling hits because of the Watchmaster nearby, oh man, just wounding on 2s with bolters,
Yeah,
super good.
Hellfire rounds. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's probably what you're going to use like 90% of the time.
Yeah, unless you're going up against something with like a high armor save. But even then. So then you got the Kraken Bolt. So it basically increases the range of the weapon by quite a bit. 3 inches for a pistol, 6 inches otherwise. And you improve the AP of the attack by 1. So if you take an Intercessor bolt rifle, it's now range 36 with an AP -2.
Which is awesome.
Which is super cool. Because that means you're rapid firing at 18 now.
That's cool.
And then there's the Vengeance round. So the Vengeance round was initially designed to kill traitors. Actually, no, it was initially designed to kill loyalists, and then the loyalists got a hold of it to kill traitors in the heresy. So you subtract 3 from the range of this weapon if it's a pistol, or 6 otherwise, and improve the AP of the attack by 2. So you're putting out AP -2 bolters or AP -3 bolt rifles. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
that's nasty.
super cool, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with this.
Just to clarify what was up in the air earlier, the Inceptors carry assault bolters, and they are not in the list.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of chapter tactics, these guys get mission tactics. So this is infantry, biker, and dreadnoughts still only.
So silly.
So units with this ability gain a bonus during the battle depending on which mission tactic they are currently employing. So you pick before the battle. You basically pick a force org chart. You pick troops, fast attack, elites, heavy support, HQ, or flyers, and you get to reroll wounds of 1 against all of those targets.
Whoa.
There's a stratagem that lets you change, so you can change from troops to elites. You can change back and forth, and I believe certain characters also give you the ability to change that.
I think it's a
throughout
relic.
the battle. There's a relic, and I believe
Your watch captain gets to use a stratagem for 1 cheaper.
yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're super cool. There's not a lot of like crazy. I mean, those are really good actually. That's really good. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, it's
I'll take that over chapter tactics.
Built-in lieutenant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Built-in lieutenant for certain things.
Which, interesting question, because they don't have lieutenants.
They don't need them.
That's it. They come with it.
So let's get into some of our favorite units.
I mean, I just really like the Watch Captain.
The Watchmaster?
The Watchmaster.
Yeah.
He's a total badass.
I've got him over there in a box.
Yeah, he's really cool. Just because he's a chapter master, which doesn't seem like a big thing, but here's the thing. You have to pay 3 command points in the Space Marine Codex to get this ability, which is within 6 inches. You can reroll all failed hits. That's huge. He also comes stock with a Guardian Spear, which normally is gene coded to a
Custodes.
custode, but I guess he's a badass.
Yep.
And they just hand these out. Why they're allowed to invent stuff and use this stuff, who knows? But yeah, so like it's he's hitting at strength 5. He's -3, and he's doing D3 damage.
Rerolling all hits too.
Rerolling all hits. Like he's a bad man. I just like it. One thing I am a little bit bummed out about, not a lot of customization there. The watch captains are able to have like way more customization, which kind of just feels like an oversight to me. Or they just didn't want to build a specific Deathwatch like Watchmaster kit.
Yeah, I mean, they're moving towards the rules emulate what's in the kit.
Yeah, and it's just a dude with a
Guardian's
blade,
Blade.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like those, and in the organization, it's like a chapter master comes up with a strategy, and the captain does it, and this is analogous to that. Excuse me.
And so there's this special character, the Watch Captain Artemis, who's basically a watch captain, but he's got this stasis bomb,
Yeah,
which is hilarious. You just it's a 6-inch grenade that's only one use, but it does D6 mortal wounds.
yeah. So
In 7th edition, he did this, but it was one auto hit, and if you hit, you couldn't reroll it for any reason. It was just 1D strength hit in combat.
Nice.
So I remember playing at Astro, and I just blew up a Land Raider with him.
nice.
Because the guy was like, "Oh, it's just one lonely dude," and he's like, "Ah!" and just sucker punch the Land Raider.
I love it. If he misses, then he suffers D6 mortal wounds.
Yep.
I just love that it's Watch Captain Artemis, because anyone who was around during the days where Inquisition was a game, that was the only Space Marine model available for that game.
exactly.
And he is such a cool model.
Cool, yeah.
And they really captured his pose.
Yeah,
It's
like
the exact same one.
he's so dynamic, except he has a cape. He shouldn't have a cape. But he wasn't a captain back then.
So my other favorite unit outside of the HQ units, because they're all pretty stock standard Space Marines. You got chaplains, you got librarians, you got captains in Terminator armor, and honestly, it's the lowly veterans.
I mean, come on.
I know, but what's really cool about the veterans is they have access to every special weapon that you can imagine. But as we talked about before, they have a special rule called mixed units. So you can put a Terminator, a Biker, or a Vanguard veteran in there. And they all give special abilities to the squad. So for example, if you put a Terminator in a squad of veterans, it automatically passes all morale tests. Super cool. If you put a Biker, it can fall back and still charge. And if you put a Vanguard vet in there, everybody in the unit essentially gains the fly keyword for falling back and shooting.
That's cool.
Love it.
So if you put a Vanguard veteran and a Biker, you charge, survive the opponent's turn, and then next turn you can fall back, shoot, and charge again.
Rough.
So good.
Yeah.
So I love how they're like, yeah, we got a Terminator. Ain't no thing. This guy ain't scared of nothing.
You scared? No, we got a Hulk.
So these guys have, they just have access to so much stuff, and they get expensive because you're like, oh, cool, I can give everyone a power weapon, I can give everyone a storm shield, and as someone who's played Deathwatch, that adds up really quick.
Yeah, I mean, you just need one storm shield, everybody with bolters, and 2 frag cannons, right?
Yeah, frag cannons are god. I really like having a Vanguard vet in there just in case you get tied up, because then you can just fall back and blow people out with frag cannons.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, put one of each of those guys in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do without the Terminator, but, put one in for flavor.
Because frag cannons are the Deathwatch special weapon, and I'm going to talk about them because I love them.
Yeah,
so I'll just give you a quick stat thing. So they stole them kind of from the Blood Angels, because the Blood Angels had them on their dreadnoughts first, but the Deathwatch, I almost said Death Guard, I had to catch myself there. Theirs is a little different. So theirs has 2 firing modes, and I can't find it. Why isn't this showing up?
Come on, buddy.
There it is. It's called a Deathwatch frag cannon. That's why. So it's either 8 inches, assault 2d6, strength 6, AP negative 1 damage, auto hits his target. And
Nice.
that's just 2d6 auto hit. Or It's got basically an Assault 2 autocannon with -2 AP, and if you're within half range, it gets Strength 9 and AP -3. I feel like that should be like, if you're within half range, this should be like 4 damage.
Get out of here. Strength 9, come on.
That doesn't mean much anymore, though. If you're Strength 8, you're already wounding most things on 3s. Strength 9, you're wounding everything on 3s, unless it's also Toughness 9. There's no difference between Strength 8 and Strength 9,
Yeah,
effectively.
but what's Toughness 9?
Forge roll greater damage. Also Titans.
Yeah, so, come on.
I just think it'd be cooler. And then shotguns. I just love the versatility of Deathwatch weapons. So the shotguns have 3 firing modes. It's either Strength 4, Assault 2, 16 inches, reroll wounds. Half range, so within 8 inches, it's got -1 AP, 2 damage, which is super solid. Or just Assault D6, Strength 3, auto hit.
I love shotguns.
Yeah, they're so cool. And
Do
they
they?
look
Which-
awesome.
You lose special ammunition, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
But you gain those
Yeah.
those modes, which is probably just a little bit better.
Yeah,
But I wonder what the difference in points is.
They're different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a super cool factor.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like a couple points per, that's not so bad. If it's like 5 or 10 points per, it's probably not worth it. But if anybody's wondering, the Primaris equivalent is just an intercessor unit, and you start with 5 intercessor marines, and then you can add a Hellblaster, you could add a Reaver, or you can add an aggressor, and there you go. So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they give special abilities as well?
let's just be 100% accurate on that and just look right
You take
at
a
it.
look, and then somebody, for the love of God, please talk about the Corvus Blackstar.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, so intercessors.
Oh, no, they don't.
Yeah, there you go.
Man,
I mean,
what?
you still have terror troops from your Reaver, right? So it's -1 leadership if you're within 3 inches of a Reaver, or a unit that includes Reaver models. So that lets you extend the range a little bit.
But, like,
Um,
Primaris, just, they don't do enough stuff.
yeah, they're so linear, right? They just
Yeah.
do what they do, and that's it.
Like,
But now that you can put in a Hellblaster, now that you can put in an aggressor, you're able to get a little bit of versatility.
yeah, you're able to make a
Yeah.
friggin' Primaris tactical squad.
So
Congratulations.
Here's something awesome.
The Inceptor strike carries over. So if you have an Inceptor, which is the flying astronaut dudes, then you can fall back and shoot.
Nice.
I just think, like,
I know. Primaris, I agree. But what's really cool here is intercessors that have aggressors, they do not suffer the penalty to their hit rolls for advancing and firing assault weapons or for moving and firing heavy weapons.
I mean, that's... But who...
The Hellblasters in the unit.
Yeah, that's good.
Because now the Hellblasters are just...
But, like, you can't give them the other bolt weapon. Like, you can't swap out the other bolt weapons that the intercessors can have. Everyone's just got a bolt rifle. So it's like...
You got 5 dudes with bolt rifles, 4 Hellblasters, and an aggressor. That's your squad of 10, and now they're moving and firing without suffering anything to their heavy weapons.
To any weapon.
To any weapons.
Yeah.
It's just... Meh.
I know, I don't like the Primaris either, but that's cool. I'd like to see this work.
Yeah.
I mean, we know, we just have to accept over time that everything's moving towards Primaris. In my opinion, that's the direction they're going.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind the scale. Like...
And soon those kits will become more elaborate, and soon they'll take the place of tactical squads, but they can't make them the exact same right now.
All right.
And then I guess the only other unique unit in this army is the Corvus Blackstar.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, basically everything is Space Marine ripoffs because they are Space Marines, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's just a 1-to-1 port.
Yeah.
So
here we go. This is a really cool flyer. I mean, aesthetically, it's an amazing model.
It's not good in the game.
Except for the big eye on top. Like, the Deathwatch crest right on top of it looks dumb.
You don't like it?
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you put the Hurricane Bolters on there and it kind of covers it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It's like, we're super stealthy, except for this giant golden eye.
Like, the Imperium's...
Letter eye.
Yeah, the Imperium's, like, really, really concerned about branding all of a sudden.
So yeah, it's like I mean, it's It's a flyer with 14 wounds, which is pretty cool. And comes base with twin assault cannons and storm strike missile launchers. And some of your other options are the Black Star rocket launcher, a hurricane bolter, or putting some las cannons on there, which are pretty cool.
Yeah, the one thing that really makes this, and I've used this in games before, that really hurts it, is it doesn't have any ability to offset moving and firing.
Yeah, no machine spirit. What's up with that?
Yeah,
this is like the most elite unit, and this is their like elite transport.
It hurts, man. You're like, oh yeah, twin assault cannons. Wait, I'm hitting on 4s?
Yeah.
Is it because they're so new that they just didn't get blessed by the Omni-Psi?
There's no power of the machine spirit in the sky.
It is a transport.
So Storm Ravens has power of the machine spirit.
It does. So Storm Eagle.
So there is power of the machine spirit in the sky, just not for the Deathwatch.
I just wanted to say spirit in the sky, okay?
Fire Raptor also has a machine spirit.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, that's what you get for making a new thing. It doesn't have a machine ghost in it.
It's true.
I guess it wouldn't, because like machine spirits are like kind of rudimentary AI, and they're not allowed to mess with AI anymore. So they probably can't install an AI in Corvus Blackstar.
Probably right. But also Storm Ravens were new. Storm Ravens didn't exist in the Heresy.
Yeah, but they existed in like 32.
No.
They did.
Storm Talons.
Whatever.
Storm Eagles.
All of it is...
all the storms?
Yeah.
All the storms happen.
They're also reclaimed STCs. They're not new inventions.
Fair enough. Wait, the Storm Talon wasn't reclaimed STC?
They're all war. There's no Space Marine vehicle that was an invention except for like
the Corvus Blackstar.
The Corvus Blackstar, and like I think a couple of the Land Raider variants.
Okay,
because like the Red Scorpions invented the Land Raider Helios, the one with like the artillery rockets.
Yeah,
because they were like, we don't trust the Imperial Guard to do our artillery, so we're just going to do it. And everyone was like, that's heresy. And they're like, also a big gun.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's got some cool features on there. Infernum Halo launchers. You can reroll saves of 1 for this model if it's equipped with this. So that's you're getting tracked by a missile and you launch your chaff to try and stop it. Or the Auspex array. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for the model with it. When targeting an enemy in the shooting phase that cannot fly. So this is all a ground targeting thing.
Yeah, I honestly think the +1 to hit units that cannot fly is so much better than that. Like that's what Storm Talon gets, right? Like,
right.
Oh, you get +1 to hit. This is
strafing runner.
The Corvus Blackstar is literally unchanged from the index. There's no changes there, and it was quite underwhelming, which is kind of disappointing.
It's got its cool like Black Star cluster launcher. It's called. It basically drops a bomb on units underneath it, so you fly over and roll a d6 for each model in the unit. On a 6, it's a mortal wound.
It's got unlimited uses too, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, there's some fun stuff there. When it's your only flyer, at least they give you something that's kind of fun. But I mean, yeah, as far as competitive play, maybe it's not the best.
You'll never see Deathwatch in competitive play.
No.
Yeah.
I will eat my hat.
You'll eat that one.
Mm-hmm.
You still haven't eaten those aggressors.
I have eaten them, and I have turned them into newly painted aggressors.
Are they even finished painted yet?
Yes, they're finished painted. Get out of here. Jeez. Yeah. So all right, let's get into the stratagems. And there's a really cool function that exists in the stratagems that really hits the flavor of the Deathwatch, and there's faction-specific ones in a way that we haven't seen. Like, we've seen, like, Cadia, where you're re-rolling hits against Chaos, and, like, you're generating extra hits against Loyalists. But these...
So you're talking about faction-specific in a way that's not, like... This is the faction I am.
Right, it's like, I'm messing with you because you're this faction. Yeah. The one I really like is... Oh, thank you.
This beer, maybe?
I do like this beer.
It's a Couch Surfer IPA. It's a West Coast IPA. Mm-hmm. A beer that started the craft brewing revolution. It's pungent. It's got hops, but it's surprisingly easy to drink.
Yeah.
Couch surfing is a good stratagem, I hear.
It's a good way to get bed bugs.
But or to give bed bugs.
Yeah, it's true. I guess it is better to give than receive. But yeah, so one of the ones that I really like is the anti-orc one, which is Stem the Green Tide.
Yeah, so this is Tanglefoot grenades.
Oh, no. Not Tanglefoot grenades. It's literally called Stem the Green Tide.
Where they throw Tanglefoot grenades at the orcs.
Oh. I didn't read the thing. It's just if you kill things in Overwatch, for every model you kill in Overwatch, the orcs subtract 1 from their charge range.
I don't like this.
I think it's
I
hilarious.
do not like this.
I like the idea of it just being like this mob of orcs and they're just peeling it off with bolter fire as opposed to Tanglefoot grenades. And then the one for the Necrons is called Overkill, and this is actually that image where they're learning. They kind of know, like, you don't just knock a warrior down, like you kill it, you Kyle Reese that badass.
Yeah,
And so they're just like completely destroying Necron bodies, and you have to subtract 1 from your reanimation protocol rolls if they're within 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's
just keep pounding.
Yeah.
Just keep firing.
But the thing is, if you're smart and you're a Necron player, you're just gonna move the guys out of 12 inches as they die.
When does the reanimation protocols happen?
The beginning of your turn.
Okay, so the start of your turn.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough. Yeah. Yeah. I really like the Tyranid one. You can targets. Whoa! You can target synapse creatures even if they're not the closest target. So you're going to take out those Broodlords. You're going to take out anything else as a character.
That's 2 points, though, right?
They're all 2 points.
Nope.
Yep.
Are they?
Oh, Overkill's not.
Okay.
The Tau one is cool. Once you get hit by marker lights, you just clear the marker lights.
Oh, that's... I would love that. I would love that so much. And the word, like, you also have access to most of the Space Marine stratagems.
Here's a cool one, though, is the Teleportarium. So you can spend up to 3 command points.
Teleportarium.
And you can just put a Deathwatch infantry unit or a Deathwatch dreadnought in a Teleportarium chamber.
It's 3 points for a dreadnought, though, right?
Nope.
No, it's a command point per unit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you can put up to 3 units, and that's
Alright.
it, max.
Which is super
But
cool.
I just love the idea of 2 dreadnoughts dropping down with a squad of dudes. Like, there's
What
something
up?
cinematic about that.
the Emperor's Wrath.
Just no drop pod. They just show up. Just
Only in death does duty end.
So then there's a set of stratagems that are all very similar. We talked earlier about mission tactics. And then there's mission doctrines.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 2 command points, which I think is a little bit too expensive. But you're basically picking a unit. So just use this stratagem before a Deathwatch unit from your army attacks an enemy unit with the troops battlefield rule. You get +1 to wound against that attack. With that attack,
For 2 command points, you
Yeah.
think that's more expensive? That's too expensive?
oh,
I mean, what is the chaos equivalent?
it's 1 for
one
everything,
Yeah.
and it's specific. It's like because let's say I can take the Noise Marines and multi-fire at different targets, and every shot's getting +1 to wound.
Yeah. It's
So you've got Führer, Venator, Dominus. So again, flyers, HQ, elites, troops, and that's it.
They could have called it anything besides Führer. Like, come on. But anyways.
Yep.
I mean, that's the troops one. But yeah, it's they should have just made this a single stratagem and
Where
just
it's like-
made it exactly like the chaos
Yeah,
one.
+1
One
wound.
command point, +1 to wound. Like, this is the reason that the kind of fringe armies like this just can't be competitive, because they
don't-
overcost all the cool things they can do.
Yeah, I totally agree, man.
Yep. And then there's tactical flexibility, which is not tactical flexibility. I don't know where it went. There's one where you can just switch mission tactics, and Tempest Shells. So Tempest Shells are awesome.
It's adaptive tactics.
Adaptive
Two
tactics.
command points. You change your mission tactic for the turn. But the cool thing is and maybe they should have done more of these little exceptions on more of the stratagems. If your warlord is a watchmaster, you can use these stratagems for 1 command point
Yeah,
instead.
that's nice.
And if they would have added that little caveat into maybe all of them, then it could have been a little more exciting, or a little more,
Because this is an elite
competitive.
army, right? You're not getting a ton of command points.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the idea is they don't want everyone taking watch captains all the time. So if you put it in too many, then it's like, okay, I'm just taking the watch captain all the time. And that's like having Gilliman show up at every single battle, right?
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
But then So moving into warlord traits, the warlord trait that you'd always take is you can change your mission tactic an additional time.
Yeah.
Wait, but that's only at the beginning of the battle.
Once during the battle, at the start of your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like Castellan of the Black Vault, where you can just add 1 to the damage characteristics of one of your weapons.
Yeah.
That's really hilarious.
No relics, though.
No, but
Still cool.
yeah. But it's a cool way to, like, backdoor a relic in there, where it's like, yeah, my Guardian Spear does D3 plus 1 damage.
Yeah.
Say hello to my magic missiles, Mo.
The Lord of Hidden Knowledge, I think, is...
And 3 damage bolter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... It's really funny.
Gross.
Because that's how you get the most out of this. You pick Guardian Spear, and then you get 2 weapons.
Yep.
Something I think is cool, I was just about to say, is the Lord of Hidden Knowledge. So once per battle, if your warlord's on the battlefield, you can roll a hit, a wound, a damage, or a saving throw. But also, you get, every time you use a stratagem on a 5+, you get a command point back. So since you're a more elite army, you don't have a lot of command points, this is a good way to hopefully do it a few more times.
And that's not just for your warlord either. Like the reroll,
yeah,
it's just any hit roll, any wound roll, any damage roll, or any saving throw.
Which is essentially a command point right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
so you're saving command points there.
And getting them back.
Yeah, you're getting back... It's more than a third, because you also get a chance to get back the ones you've already gotten back. Oh...
So as opposed to 33%, you may be getting back like 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
You're like, I can't do this math.
Yeah, I'm not trying that math. But I know that it's better than a third.
We've tried easier math than that
and
gotten way wrong.
Well, it's basically like the Monty Hall thing.
So then, relics. I like the Tomb of Echo Cladis. So this is just a grimoire, because the Imperium loves their grimoire. And again, it's at the start of each of your turns, pick a mission tactic. Until the start of your next turn, you can choose to apply either the effects of your current mission tactic or the one you've selected for this relic for any unit within 6 inches of the bearer each time they attack. So this, I really think that mission tactics, and I loved it in 7th. Like, it's just, some people are like, oh, it's all right. It's like, no, being able to rapidly change 3 or 4 times in a battle is you're just re-rolling ones to wound. It's so good.
Yeah, that's probably the relic you're taking every time. To be honest.
And being able to change them rapidly is super important.
That is rad. I really like the Bane Bolts of Erixia, just because it's like an Archmagister Erixia. She spent her entire life like trying to make the perfect bolter round, and like kind of did it. So the idea is like you add 1 to the damage roll of any special ammunition carried by this bearer. So that's like a cool thing to have on a watch captain.
Yeah.
And plus, 1 second. Excuse me. Plus, on a roll of 6 to wound, it does an immortal wound. So I just like this.
Yeah. It's not. It's good. You're hitting on 2 fronts, right? It's like solid, and then an off chance to be better.
Right.
Add this to your warlord trait that you like.
You can't do it.
Oh,
it
really?
Specifically says you're not allowed to use it with this relic, because that would be nuts.
I mean, but like they're already not competitive, like,
dude.
Just let them do it.
A master-crafted bolter with special ammunition would be doing
3 damage.
4
damage.
4 damage if you could stack
the
that.
Potential of mortal wounds.
That would be nuts.
But just let it do it.
Just like blowing up like friggin' warriors.
Mean, if there's no limitations on keywords and you could like do Imperium anything, then yeah, it's stupid because then everyone would take this guy.
Yeah.
But like, just let them do it.
Yeah,
like,
let this guy dome warriors.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of time, warlord traits don't interact with relics, though.
No,
across most codexes.
They shouldn't, but this would be a hilarious.
Oh yeah, this would be a great instance. Yeah. They also get like a reverse. What's the Necron thing? Shroud of the thingy-majigger?
Oh, Shroud of Darkness? Veil of Darkness?
Veil of Darkness, where it's called the Beacon and Jealous. And so this is at the end of your movement phase. The bearer of the relic can move a unit to them.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Because
If you're in trouble,
or you have a guy, you like drop your warlord out of a Corvus Blackstar, and you're like, you know, it'd be hilarious. Surprise Dreadnought.
no, it's infantry.
infantry or
You know, it'd be hilarious. Surprise Veteran Squad.
Yeah.
From the other side of the board.
Bloop, bloop.
Yeah,
Just
I like
up,
that a lot.
up, down, raid, and teleport, baby.
Well, and you know what's funny too is you could do this on a unit of aggressors, and it doesn't say in here that they count as moving.
They do.
They don't.
No, it just says set them up.
Anytime you're removed from the battlefield and replaced, you count as moving.
Says who?
Says the FAQ that everyone was arguing about. Remember that whole thing where it was like, do units that leave the battlefield and then come back count as moving for the purposes of firing heavy weapons?
But this is not for the purpose of firing heavy weapons. This is the purpose of the aggressor special rule that lets them fire twice if they didn't move.
Fair enough. Yep, that makes sense to me. And then there's the Thief of Secrets where you're like, someone made this codex being like, this is super fluffy and we're going to fight Xenos all the time. Because basically it's a power sword with 2 damage, but versus you at the start of the battle, you pick a Xenos keyword and you reroll wounds for it.
Yeah, why not?
But not against Chaos or other Imperium.
That's
You
not
like-
good.
you
That's real bad. That's super friggin' bad. That is a piece of shit.
You got some bite tonight, eh?
It's just such a waste of like.
Of your relic?
Yeah, it's like 2 inches on the page of just dumb.
Especially when so much of their stuff is already you get to reroll wounds or add 1 to wound already.
Yeah.
Like why is this so much about wounding? Mm-hmm. You know, for a codex that's supposed to be about variety.
Yeah, who hurt you, Deathwatch?
Yeah, and then I always love looking at the tactical objectives. The psychic power is the same as the Space Marine one, but there's one for you scored a victory point if at least one enemy unit was destroyed. If it was a Xenos unit, you get D3 victory points.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You still got to get it.
Roll a D6, score 3 victory points if you control the corresponding objective marker at the end of 3 consecutive turns.
Oh, get the hell. You're
Yikes.
never going to get that.
That's not that difficult. You have to control it for your turn, your opponent's turn, and your turn.
Yeah.
It's no different than defend.
It's half a turn longer than defend.
Right, but if you are able to control it for your turn and your opponent's turn, you're able to control it for your second turn as well.
yeah, so
Yeah.
they're locked
Yeah,
there
I guess
for-
unless the only scenario that wouldn't happen is if you were in like an extended melee
Yes.
and you decided to stay
Yeah.
and died. Which, if you knew you were going to die, you should just fall back anyways. But
So that's the Deathwatch Codex.
Great kits, too. I think we
gorgeous.
haven't mentioned that, but I feel like we've said it on the podcast before. The design of the like standard Space Marine, they did something that everyone's been wanting them to do, and they did it with an update of the tactical kit. It's just moving the ankles closer together so your Space Marine looks taller and like he's not about to take a dump.
Yep. I just want to point out one more unique weapon to the
Okay.
Deathwatch. The Heavy Thunderhammer.
Oh yeah, we'd be loath not to.
So this is the Deathwatch special. It takes 2 hands to wield. So it's a Thunderhammer that does D6 damage, which I don't think is actually better than the flat 3.
flat 3 is better every time.
But when you're attacking with this weapon, each time you make a wound roll of 6+, the hit is resolved at auto damage 6.
Nice.
And I did that at the first doubles tournament we ever ran. Like, I think it was against one of Connor's Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and he just went, boom! And just did 6 wounds. I was like, oh
Just
my
play
God.
whack-a-mole with a dreadnought?
Yeah.
It's I don't like.
It should be like D3 plus
Plus
3,
3.
maximum of 6. I know it's more complicated, but
Hell, I'd take D3 plus 2.
yep. Oh, yeah.
Like,
So that it's like, at the low end, it's the same as a regular Thunderhammer, but potential for more.
yeah, potential
Yeah.
5, and then if you roll a 6 to wound, it's friggin' 6 damage.
And you see
Or
it
just
in
do
some
a mortal
weapons.
wound.
Like the neutron
Just
laser.
one.
I want 6.
The neutron laser is like, oh, it's D6 damage, but it can never do less than 3. So you're like, so it's D3 plus 3.
Yeah, come on, dudes.
Like,
D&D got this right
yep.
in the 70s.
And it's not that hard. So that's the Deathwatch. They're awesome.
They're not
They're-
good.
No, they're not.
They're not good. Like, let's be honest.
No, and again, you know what? I feel myself slipping more and more into this competitive Warhammer scene, and dude, like
Simon, he said it out loud.
But I don't like it because you're not going to see the variety of armies on the table.
So that's
You've
not
always
true.
been a competitive player, dude. All of
yeah.
your lists are hard as nuts.
Because I play with you guys.
Oh no! I learned it
More
from
hard
you.
as
Yeah.
So at the London GT,
Yeah.
the top 10% of armies, 14 different factions in the top 10%.
Well, that's good.
That's very good. That
That's
to me
really
is
good.
an indicator. And that, yeah, it was 14. Anyways, that's no matter it was 14 or 16 or anyway, like that's a really healthy indicator.
Yeah.
At one of the major events in the basically the heartland of Warhammer, that you have such a depth of variety in the top 10% of competitive armies. Like the game has never been healthier in my opinion. And so to play competitively is like it's an appealing way to play. Like that's how much variety is in the top tiers.
And like, yeah, this is an adjunct army. I think they're meant to be allied in.
Yeah.
And like, they can easily be allied in. They share codex. They share Astartes keyword.
They do, yeah. Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah, so you can drop that in.
Yeah, you just couldn't in our heavily restricted Hogtown comp. You couldn't do it as easy.
Yeah, you could.
Can you?
Yeah, they're Adeptus Astartes, so they have Imperium and Adeptus Astartes.
Mm-hmm.
You can bring them in.
Could you do it? Yeah.
They would lose mission tactics
But you could do a
Why would they lose mission tactics?
because you lose your faction special rules with our comp.
Right.
Yeah.
That's heavy. That's heavy. What are we gonna do about? We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
off
wow,
Offcast.
that's what we're talking now.
What are we gonna do about Imperial Knights?
It's already in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Already
in our
already
player pack?
covered. Yeah.
Like as of
Any
what?
Imperial army can include this. It's an exception to this rule. Same with assassins.
No, the Imperial Knight Codex is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to do your own just Imperial Knight army, because took out the 3 Lord of War slot as an option, and that's the only way they can build an army.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They don't have a standard thing?
yeah, they don't do troops or
Oh, then
any
we'll
switch
just
and
put
stuff like that.
an army running Imperial Knights.
Just an exception on that.
Yeah. Can take this thing.
no Imperial Knights.
We made the exception for Dark Eldar and their unique
Did we? Yeah, that's
list building
good.
thing. Yeah, it just said like Dark Eldar are exempt from. No, we made it so anybody can take as many patrol detachments as they want.
Yeah,
A
'cause
moment.
there's no benefit to it,
No,
right?
unless you're Dark Eldar.
Yeah,
A moment of exception leads to a lifetime of heresy.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've been reading the Imperial Thought of the Day.
Oh, I
list.
sent that to you. Yeah,
It's not good. It's not good, man.
it's pretty funny. Yeah. So any words before we sign off?
You guys should watch Death.
Death.
So
Deathwatch.
Oh,
the Death Guard ensure that people keep dying by guarding the death. The Death Watch observe everything that happens upon the point of death.
well, Death Guard make sure people don't die. They guard people from death, and if they die, they just bring them back.
You guys are gross.
It's what they do.
1, 2, 3, 5.
Time.
It's a different fun time today.
Yeah, we're gonna live up to the Toronto-based part of the podcast title.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little story of our great city. We're going all the way back to like 1855.
All right.
And I titled the story The Clown Riot.
Okay, I'm done. Goodbye.
So we've established in the past that P.T. Barnum was popular.
Enemy of the podcast.
Enemy of the podcast, and the reason he was popular is because people didn't have TV and they got drunk a lot, and they needed somewhere to go and be drunk in public and escape the dreariness of their Industrial Revolution lives in Toronto, because it was not a nice place.
No, like probably every second day, a guy got his arm cut off by a streetcar.
Yeah, or just like being in hog pens and working as a tanner. But basically, a circus of clowns came up to Toronto from the States. And they did their clowning around and their circusing. And obviously, clowns are people, and they need a little loving at the end of the day. And so they had to go to a local brothel. So they went to a local brothel. Now, I like to picture them in full clown makeup at this point. That's probably not historically accurate.
Yeah,
but for the purposes of the story, all the clowns went to a local brothel.
There's a clown car joke in here that I...
However, there was a group of local firefighters at this brothel as well.
Oh, the natural enemy of the clown.
And if you don't know the history of firefighters, I suggest you go look at it, because they are not what you think today.
Yeah, it's basically just mobs.
Yeah, they were gangs. So if a house was burning down, they would steal everything inside the house, put the fire out, and sometimes steal stuff from the people next door.
Yeah. Sometimes they would wait outside a burning house until someone paid them.
Sometimes they would burn and then put the house out for money.
Yep.
And then there were also rival gangs who would go around slashing each other's fire hoses while they were trying to put out the other company's fires that were their responsibility. Needless to say, one thing led to another, and the clowns and the firefighters brawled.
In a brothel.
In a brothel.
I assume that it's got like the old timey piano, like the Western piano playing. And, like, yeah, like someone's doing a sweet ragtime something.
And against all your bets, the clowns won.
I would. You know what? You don't get to become a clown in 1850 and not have someone try and kick your ass every now and then.
So they kicked the firefighters out. The firefighters went running back to their firehouse.
These are our sex workers. You get out of here.
And the clowns had a good night and went back to their circus, which I believe was probably the exhibition grounds or somewhere nearby there. But the firemen weren't done. They got everybody in their company. They loaded up the fire trucks. They drove down to the circus, and they burned the circus down and beat up all the clowns.
It sounds like something out of Gangs in New York.
It largely is. They burned the circus down. Like, that's... I would pay probably $250 to be, like, in a hot air balloon over that scene.
Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere
Oh,
near
no,
that.
I don't want to be on the ground,
Yeah.
man. I am weak for a man.
Do not want to be in arm's reach of a clown. Or a firefighter.
No, well, I mean... Firefighters that lost a fight or clowns that won it, like, that's all bad.
Yep. So yeah, that's the story of the Toronto Clown Riot. If you like this Toronto history moment, let us know and we'll do more. I got a bunch.
Yeah, I just want to do a Toronto History podcast.
Yeah?
Anyways, that's us. Good night, everybody.
Watch the throne.
No? No Jay-Z?